Okay, good morning once again. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm very glad to see that many people with us today. My name is Nicolas Rossignol. I'm Assistant Director at ESPON in GTC, and I'm coordinating all research activities at ESPON. I will be your guide this morning during this webinar, where we will be presenting you our targeted analysis, and we hope having also together a nice Q&A session and answering as much as we can all the questions you may have about this type of ESPON activities. Before going directly into the topic of targeted analysis, I would like briefly to introduce the the way this meeting will be run. You saw in the invitation that we propose to have like 2 hours together to discuss about targeted analysis. Of course, this is an open floor, open meeting. So if we don't have that many questions, maybe we can be done before that. If we have more, we can also stay a little bit more for those who would like to discuss and engage with us. This meeting will go like that. After this brief introduction, I will also tell you about a couple of questions we would like to ask you via an application called Slido. The first thing for us is to get to know who is participating in this meeting, and you will see and understand why also it is important at some point. Then I will briefly introduce, because I see that in the room, many of you are not necessarily familiar with the ESPON program, so I will briefly introduce the cooperation program, the new ESPON 2030. I will tell you also about our new thematic priorities. They are important in preparing proposals for targeted analysis. So I will give you some hints about these priorities. Then we will go in the core of the discussion, presenting the targeted analysis, what they are, how you can apply for them. And for this, I will be accompanied by a series of colleagues from the ESPON EGTC that are with us in the room. They will introduce themselves each time they will take the floor. And then, and we hope that this sequence will not last more than half an hour, we will go for your questions and answer, knowing that we have received through your registrations already a series of questions, and we have also attempted to make our presentations in a way that they can answer some of your questions. If you have more, do not hesitate. Then this will be the floor will be yours for at least an hour. And we'll close also this meeting with a quick evaluation survey, as we used to do within ESPON activities. So without further ado, as I can see that also in this meeting, we have not only people who don't know us, but also people who are close to ESPON. I'm talking about ESPON National Contact Point, and also representatives of member states that are part of the broad ESPON Monitoring Committee. I would like to also welcome them for this meeting today. And I would like also now to get to know a little bit more about who is with us in this meeting. So for this, I would like to invite you to on your mobile or on your laptop to join the Slido.com website or application, and to enter the event code called ESPON. You can see on your screen, you can also directly scan the QR code if you wish, or you can go on your browser to open the Slido. And my suggestion for you is to answer two first questions that are asked once you will enter the Slido application. The first question is about the type of institution, organization that you are representing. And we will so now try to see and share Maybe I ask my colleague, Nikos, if you could share the screen with the results. If you go on the Slido and start connecting and answering the first question being which kind of organization, institution you are representing today. You will have also in the chat. Okay, so you can see on the screen also people starting responding and connecting. You have in the chat as well the link. You can click directly on the link. It will bring you directly to the Slido and the question. We'll wait until a certain number of you have responded to this first question. Good morning, Switzerland. I have someone in the chat saying that clicking on the link, you can find there is a problem with the questionnaire. So the QR code is maybe not up to date. So it means that you'd better maybe, yes, click on the link that is in the chat. "16 responses so far, 10 people responding." You see, we are trying to get to know whether you're a public body at different territorial level, regional, EU, national, an EU program, or if you're rather working for a research center, a university, consulting company. I can see in the chat that you have to answer all the questions, not only the first one. Please just answer the first question, or maybe the second question if you wish so as well, which is about your knowledge and involvement in past ESPON activities. You don't need to answer the other questions. We'll go back to them later on at the end of the meeting. We just start with these first questions to get to know who is in the room. It's not possible to answer only the first one. Yes, you can. You can and let also the web page open. Even though you don't submit, we can see your answer. Okay. So more or less 42 people, 1/3 of you have already answered. Okay, and we can see that the huge majority of those who have responded so far are working for public authorities at regional, national, or local level. A couple of you are representing also European programs, and 10% research organizations, universities. Okay, I will let the other go on responding, and again we'll go back to this questionnaire at the end of the meeting. You see that the other questions are more related to your feedback on the meeting itself. But maybe just to stop at this point on this dimension on who you are working for, etc. You see how important it is in relation with the topic of today, targeted analysis, because targeted analysis are activities that are meant for serving the needs precisely of public authorities, local authorities, authorities also at national level, European program, etc. For universities, consultant, research centers, etc. There are other type of ways for engaging together with ESPON. Of course, every one of you is welcome in this meeting, but we wanted also to let you know that the content that will be presented and discussed today is primarily meant for public authorities. All right, so now I will ask my colleague to stop sharing the poll, and then we will go back to the general presentation, where I will briefly introduce the new ESPON 2030 cooperation program, new because it has been adopted by the member state, the Commission, and the different partners 2 years ago. So this program, for those of you who don't know ESPON, I will just give you a couple of hints about ESPON itself, because it's not necessarily very well known all the time for those of you who are representing local authorities and are used to work with Interreg programs. ESPON is an Interreg program, and ESPON is working for and exists for over 20 years. What do we do is that we deliver territorial analysis, we deliver also data and policy advice, not only to public authorities, but also to European programs from the 27 EU members, and also from 4 partner states that are Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. The overall way of working of ESPON is to deliver benchmark, and we help public authorities to position their own territory, their country, their city, their region, compared to others in Europe, to identify also territorial challenges or potentials, and we provide advice on how to shape territorial policies and strategies for the future. So this is what ESPON in general is doing. And for those of you who are used to work with Interreg programs, there is one important difference in the way ESPON is working, and I insist on this because targeted analysis, you will see that is also concerned by this approach. What ESPON does is that we fund studies. We fund studies based on your needs, based on the needs on the countries, the regions, the European public authorities at large, at all territorial level. And what we do that is specific compared to other programs is that our studies have constantly a territorial focus, which means that our analyses are adjusted constantly to the territorial needs of the places and authorities we are working with. And for that, and this is a novelty in this ESPON 2030 program, we do this, and we fund these studies through thematic priorities. We call them thematic action plans, and I will show you what they are. But the thing that you need maybe to remind for now is that we are not working with grants compared to other programs. We are only working with public procurement, open calls, and this is the way how we implement and finance our studies. So now, let me show you the thematic priorities of the new ESPON program. I think I missed one slide. Yes, this is the page. You can see on your screen now the different themes that are our thematic priorities. We organize them through action plans. We call them like that, thematic action plans. And you can see by the titles that they are more or less covering all that can be captured by territorial policies and territorial strategies. You'll find in there, for instance, reading the one called climate neutral territories, or the other one on the other side of the screen, nature-based adaptation to climate change, that we are here addressing the green transition of European territories. We are also addressing the digital transition via the thematic action plan, the priority, which is called smart connectivity. Then we are also addressing topics linked to governance, of territories. We have one priority, which is called governance of new geography. Resilience, territorial resilience, is also a very important priority of this new program. We have one TAP, thematic action plan, called Places Resilient to Crisis. As you may be more familiar with, we are also very much concerned with the cross-border dimension of territorial policies. That's why we have one priority, which is called living, working, and traveling across borders. And then two last priorities, one being looking at the diversity of territorial development models across European territories. We call it Perspective for All People and Places. It gives really room for support to very different type of ways of approaching territorial development, ranging from issues related to housing, labor market, quality of life, and so on and so forth, territorial inequalities as well. And then and at the other end of the spectrum, we have also a priority which is dealing with the way European territories are connected to the rest of the world and how they are interacting as regions, as major cities with the rest of the world. We call it European territories in global interaction. So you see that no matter what could be your ID, your need for a targeted analysis, and we'll discuss that later, there is most probably an ESPON priority which will be related to it. It's important to keep it in mind because we'll discuss that, but in the application form for targeted analysis, we are requesting you also to position your proposal according to one of our thematic priorities. So all these are, of course, presented and described at length on our website. But we'll go back to this if you have questions about that later on. Now, I would like briefly also to recall what I was saying, that who is benefiting from ESPON? So who are ESPON activities meant for, primarily for local, regional, and national authorities? We started with that, with a small questionnaire. You are in the room, the main beneficiaries of the ESPON activities, but it's not because we are going to talk together and we talk about your needs, etc. Today, that you are the only one working or engaging with us. I wanted also, before starting, to show you that ESPON is working more broadly also with the scientists, researchers, students, more and more with journalists as well, and also with the private sectors, because the studies we are funding can also be of real interest for consultancies, SMEs, or even in industries. I don't insist too much on this. I wanted maybe to conclude because with the way you could work with us. Today, we are talking about targeted analysis. We wanted also to let you know that it is not the only way for you as public authorities to engage with us. You can also have your say in our much broader, I would say, research projects, pan-European research projects, and make the results of this project yours by engaging in case studies or steering with us these projects. So there are multiple opportunities for you as a local authority, public authority, to get involved in those broader projects that we are launching upon request of the member states or the European Commission. And for this, the advice I could give you is to reach out to your ESPON national contact point, who could advise you also and check whether your needs could be served through either participating in a broad European research project run by ESPON, or maybe also could be served through what we call on-demand, upon request services and studies that are sometimes smaller but maybe more tailored. They could be territorial studies, they could be also training or peer learning exchanges, etc. There is a range of services and things that ESPON can do for you, and we wanted also to let you be aware of that. But today, this is not the topic. Today, the topic is the targeted analysis. So I will, for this, leave the floor to my colleagues who will present you the call itself and then the way how to apply, explain you what targeted analysis and what you can do and how you should apply to them. Before concluding and leaving the floor to my colleague Piera Petruzzi, I was just mentioning your ESPON contact points in the different. Oh, I think the. Sorry, Piera. I just wanted to show this slide just to be before giving you back the floor. ESPON in your country, I mentioned ESPON contact point. I imagine that for most of you, you have been contacted by your ESPON contact point. So most probably, you know him, you know her. If you don't, if you're here by chance or by any other way, then you can find on our website a way to get in touch with this representative of ESPON in each of your countries. So also most of the time it's easier because then you can speak in your own language, etc., to get to know how to engage with us. I'm stopping here. I will come back to you for the session, the question and answer session later on. But for the moment, I'm giving back the floor to my colleague Piera Petruzzi, who will introduce the call for proposals for targeted analysis.
Thank you very much, Nicola. I'll try to share. Can you see the slides? Yes, it seems so.
You put landscape broader.
Okay.
Full screen.
Let me check again. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, but it's not full screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think now it is, right? Okay.
Yes, it is. It's working. Okay.
Very good. So welcome also from my side. It's a huge pleasure to see so many of you attending this webinar. We are really pleased to be with all of you. And as has been mentioned by Nicola before, this is dedicated to all of you, your questions, and one of our most important activities, the ESPON targeted analysis. My name is Piera Petruzzi. I've been working in ESPON since 2008, starting with the communication and outreach, and then working on exactly targeted analysis. ESPON has entered its third decade, and since 2002, sorry, we have played a key role in supporting policy development related to the EU cohesion policy, and we have provided comparable pan-European evidence, analysis and scenarios on territorial dynamics that has helped regions, cities, and also larger territories in deciding on their future development. And in doing so, we have built, I would say, a unique knowledge and evidence base for policy development, which has been possible thanks to the visionary support of European policymakers and stakeholders. And for that, I would like to mention the ESPON Monitoring Committee members, of course, that since 2002 and later on have been supporting ESPON, but also thanks to the ESPON contact points and to the scientific contribution of researchers and experts from all over Europe that are then, together with my colleagues and ESPON staff, the key driving force in providing new and innovative results. Since at the beginning, we didn't have targeted analysis, I would say. We started in 2007. And with the ESPON targeted analysis, we have supported territorial development processes at the local, regional, as I said, national and transnational level. We have been able to bring together policymakers who shared similar challenges and who were looking for territorial evidence and a European perspective. And since 2007, with the ESPON 2013 program, as you can see, we have been able to implement 59 targeted analyses that included 356 stakeholders all over Europe, and as we said, from all the territorial level. During the current program, ESPON 2030 program, we have already approved and start working on 8 targeted analyses. For that, the global target is 2830 for the entire programming period, so between 2023 and 2027-28. And so far, we have been able to engage and to work strictly with 52 stakeholders. These numbers, I cannot hide, that makes us really happy and are very promising for the future. We have several examples of targeted analysis. This presentation will be shared with you, will be published, and you can see the link there as well. I would focus on the latest targeted analysis, the ones under the ESPON 2030. We have approved, as I said, 8 targeted analyses. One is about innovative planning in a shrinking society with the acronym of Rural Plan. The second one is putting clean energy transition policies into practice in Central Europe, clean energy for CE. Then we have Interalp, interface territories across the Alpine region, and I think there are also some stakeholders here at this meeting, so you are also welcome to share your thoughts and your experience with us. Then we have another targeted analysis. The acronym is CARPAT. It's about determinants and opportunities for the socio-economic and spatial development of the Carpathian region. Then CHANIBO, challenges at the EU's northeast external borders. Atlantic MISIS, orientation for the development of an Atlantic macro regions. And then we have VREPO, vulnerability, resilience and recovery policies of the physical living environment. And finally, resilience, improving local intermediate authorities crisis preparedness and territorial resilience. The topics that we have been working on in more than 20 years are very wide. We had covered topics such as airport, like drivers of economic success of a territory, convergence regions, and this especially in the previous ESPON program, cross-border, energy, European cooperation, growth path in specific territorial areas, indicators for territorial cohesion, integrated strategy, islands, landscape, metropolitan regions. For that, we had a number of targeted analysis during these more than 20 years. And also for that, I think we have some stakeholders that can be our ambassador for that topic. Rural migration, rural regions, scenarios, territorial impact, protected areas, migration, and so on. I mean, this is just to give you an overview of the variety and amount of topics that we can work on. And in this new programming period needs to be related to the 4 thematic action plans that my colleague Nicola has introduced before. Then I would say that we can move to the open invitation. Before arriving to a targeted analysis, there is a process. And today with these events, we are also in this process. There is an open invitation. The cutoff date is 29th of March. What you as a stakeholder, if you decided to go for that, needs to think about and describe in the application form. It's your project proposal, so you need to outline the policy issues to be addressed by ESPON targeted analysis, and your proposal needs to reflect the specific territorial context. And when we think about the territory, it's whatever territory, it's a country, it's a region, cities, functional urban areas, cross-border areas, territories with geographic specificities such as island, mountainous regions, lakes, and so on, but also cooperation area of EU-funded programs, and so on. And in your proposal, it comes without saying, it's important that you describe and you have a clear idea of what are the policy needs behind your request. Then the project proposal needs to relate to one of the 8 thematic action plans and should have a wider European perspective. What is a wider European perspective? It's something that I can also elaborate more in other slides, because it's important also when it comes to the selection of your proposal from our side. When you can submit your proposal anytime, having in mind that we, ESPON, evaluate twice per year all the stakeholder proposals that we have received by a cutoff date. And as I said, the next one is the 20th of March of this year. And for this cutoff date, the plan is to select up to 7 new proposals that then will be implemented as a targeted analysis. But who are the stakeholders? You have put a number of questions in the registration form, and we appreciate really these questions. And in this presentation, we also try to answer to some of them. So it's about bodies at the EU level, macro-regional level, cross-border, national, regional, and local bodies that have a legal mandate or a specific tasks in developing and implementing public policies with the territorial dimensions. The group of stakeholders can also be enlarged to networks at a broader scale. For instance, networks of local authorities, chambers of commerce, association of trade unions, citizen groups. I think there is a question I've seen in the chat, if the stakeholders can be civil representative of civil societies. So you have an answer here. Yes, of course. But also could be managing authorities and joint secretariats, European grouping of territorial cooperation, and other cooperation bodies responsible for implementing EU-funded programs for transnational, cross-border, or macro-regional areas. You can apply as a single or together with other stakeholders acting jointly. But I will tell you honestly that we want to encourage a wider geographical coverage and to ensure that a number of countries, regions, cities can benefit of territorial evidence, even though, as I said, you might and you can decide to apply as a single stakeholder. It should be a stakeholder sitting in the ESPON space, which is, as mentioned before, we covered the EU member states and ESPON partner states. If you are looking for partners, we can also support you with that. First of all, and again, thank you to the ESPON contact points for having helped in engaging with so many participants. You can have a chat, you can contact your national contact point. We have one in all the ESPON countries, and there is also a LinkedIn group which is called ESPON Stakeholder that you can subscribe, and also there it's moderated by us. You can also express your ideas and look for partners. Selection criteria. Also for that, I think we have received a number of questions. So there are 5 selection criteria equally important. The first one is about delivering. The targeted analysis should deliver new territorial evidence under a specific thematic action plan theme. So should be aligned with this thematic action plan. Then, as a second criteria, your proposals needs to be relevant. The targeted analysis needs to be relevant for place-based development strategies in your territory, which means that it should be related to a specific policy opportunity and challenges in your territory. Then it should be used, and it should be an added value for policy making in the territory, which means that you need to have really a clear idea of how you want to use the output of the analysis in the policy development. And in the application form, you will be asked also to indicate briefly what is the use of the outcomes of the targeted analysis. Then the wider European perspective and transferability. This means that the topic should somehow should be related to one of the topic of the other countries involved in the ESPON program, to EU policy context, and could also propose a sort of benchmarking in stakeholders' territories in relation to other regions in Europe. The point on transferability is quite important for us. In these more than 20 years, we have proved that some targeted analysis then offer the basis for something bigger, meaning that if the targeted analysis is really relevant and can be transferred to other territories, we can also decide together with the member states that the targeted analysis can inspire a bigger project, what is called currently the European Research Project, and so having a wider territorial coverage. So the result of the targeted analysis should be able to be transferred to other territories that are facing similar challenges and can also be the seed of a bigger research. Then finally, we evaluate also the active involvement of the stakeholders in the analytical process and in the steering of the activity. This is something that we will keep saying, and it's the magic ingredient for a successful targeted analysis. If there are very good targeted analysis, it's especially because of the active involvement of the stakeholders. So when you decided to apply, when you decided to fill in the application form, it's really a kind of inner process. You need really to make a deal with yourself and with your partner that you will be working together with us in order to ensure that the targeted analysis deliver according to the policy needs and expectations. Finally, I will introduce in these slides a bit of a sort of steps and an idea about the timing. So let's say that we are here today. We are under the ESPON open invitation. So you are already decided to submit a proposal for a targeted analysis. And you know that the cutoff date is 29th of March. At that moment, at the end of the day, we will collect all the proposals that we have received. We will evaluate the proposals, and we select, as I said before, up to 7 proposals for new targeted analysis. At that moment, you will be asked to develop together with us the terms of reference for the targeted analysis. We will work together in order to have terms of reference that reflect exactly your needs and the envisaged outputs. When we have finalized the terms of reference, we will launch an open call for proposals. It's an EU-wide procurement procedure. And then we will select the best proposal together with the lead stakeholder. We will ask the lead stakeholder to evaluate together with us the best proposal, and then we start the proper implementation. So the fun is there, is coming then after we sign the contract with the researchers, and we start implementing the targeted analysis within a period that could be up to a 12-month. And we work together with you and the other stakeholders, but also with the monitoring committee members from the countries that are covered by your targeted analysis that can volunteer to participate to the implementation and also validate the results of the targeted analysis. And when we have delivered and we close formally the project, it's not over. No, not at all, because then it starts the process of results uptake, using policy making, and even though we will not be bind with the contractual links with the researchers or with the stakeholder agreement, in any case, our plan and our aim is to keep working also after the final delivery, in order to ensure that the results are kept in policy processes, and why not also in the research arena. There is an example I like to mention in this case, the targeted analysis of DG Plan that we have been working and exchanging with the stakeholders and with the researchers also after the closure of the analysis, in order to keep the study live and to ensure this policy uptake. Well, that's all from my side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Thank
Piera,
you.
for all these explanations. We'll go back. I suggest that we move on directly to the practical details on how to apply for a targeted analysis. And for this, I will give the floor to two of my colleagues, starting with Laura in 1 minute. Just before that, I saw that there are already some questions in the chat. We are taking note of all these questions and we'll go back to them afterwards. However, maybe just to quickly answer, because some of those that are there are quite easy to answer. Piera already mentioned that yes, civil society representatives can be stakeholders in our targeted analysis. There is one question about NGO, private association. Yes, they can, but just one thing. Remember that, of course, the topic should be related to public policies. So you can be easily, as a group of citizens, an NGO, etc., stakeholder, but usually you will not be the lead stakeholder. You can be part of a partnership, a consortium of stakeholders representing from the perspective of your territory certain type of interest, but then this should be embedded into maybe a broader topic related to the implementation of territorial strategies, public policies in the places you are representing. So we will put it like that. The question about the nationality of the stakeholders, because the program is co-funded by ERDF, so the European Union, but also by member states, the member states of the European Union plus the 4 member states. It is dedicated to stakeholders from these countries. Still, it happened already in the past, and it's possible to have in the steering of the project as observer, we would say, the participation of representative of non-EU countries, for instance, candidate countries. This is still possible, but not as formal stakeholders in the partnership. And then I think my colleagues will go back to this as well. Then the last questions, the 2 last questions about a very specific topic. Maybe this give me the opportunity to tell you that today we cannot enter individual projects and provide you advice with ideas about your project that you may already have, etc. I can just tell you one thing. I mean, reading the title, Special Impact of the Merger of TEN-T Corridors, this is clearly, I mean, in line with things that we received, that we could select it. Of course, it depends on the content of your proposal, and this could be related, saying, or look, I mean, given the title, to a priority that I presented called smart connectivity, but I cannot tell you more. I can, if you have some questions about a broad idea, a broad topic that you may have, tell you whether it would like spontaneously fit or not. I will not be able to enter in more details than that today. And about the question about should it relate to one or more tab? What happens if it's covering or addressing different priorities? Don't worry too much about that. Take a look at our different priorities. Decide according to your project, your needs, what you think would be the main dimension and in which you find it best suiting. Anyway, in case we think different, it's not a problem and it will not be detrimental to your application. And in case your application proposal is selected and then we think that it would better fit into another tab, we will let you know in due time. So this is not a major issue. No, now I stop and I give the floor to my colleague Laura. Laura, please.
Thank you, Nicola. I will be sharing the presentation. 1 second. Please let me know if this is full screen. I think you're on mute, Nicola.
I think because you have two screens that are connected, then we can see also the next slide.
Oh, okay. One moment. Then 1 second.
Wonderful.
Perfect. Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Laura Dimitriou. I'm an administration and contract assistant manager with ESPON EGTC. And I will briefly guide you through the key steps involved in submitting a stakeholder proposal for a targeted analysis. So, to begin with, it is important to thoroughly review all available information related to the targeted analysis. And this also includes the stakeholder guidance, the frequently asked questions, the application form, letter of commitment, and stakeholder cooperation agreement. So once you've familiarized yourself with the background information, the next step is to complete the necessary documents. Ensure to submit a completed application form in English language, scanned and signed, and additionally provide dated letters of commitment printed on official letter paper from all participating stakeholders, including the lead stakeholder. Please be sure to follow the submission instructions outlined in the guidance document and carefully review the application form. Moving on to the submission process, all applications should be sent via email to application@espon.eu, and you can access and download the application form from the ESPON website. And please keep in mind the deadline, which is set for the 29th of March. To simplify the process, every application form has an annex, which includes a checklist to help ensure accurate completion. If you have any questions or need any assistance throughout the process, please feel free to reach out to us to the same email address, application@espon.eu. Now that we've covered the key steps for submitting the stakeholder proposals, I would like to invite Marta to further present the subsequent steps in the selection process.
So,
Thank you.
thanks, Laura. Hello again from Luxembourg. Marta Roca, Assistant Director, together with Nicola, that's related to administration, budget, and public procurement. So now you have submitted your application. What's next? So we have different steps. The first step is to do an eligibility and administrative check, meaning what? Meaning that you are eligible, all the stakeholders are eligible. So I refer to the presentation of Piera about who can apply. An administrative check, it's about that all the documents that Laura presented are completed and dates, time, etc. If ever happens that any signature is missing, any document is missing, you still have a chance. We will contact you and have 5 working days to repair that. And afterwards, when we have agreed that you're eligible and all the documents are there, you're going to be invited to an online exchange. This is a novelty compared to the procedure that had taken in the past, where Piera presented all the targeted analysis approved. So in this online exchange, what's going to happen? Everybody, so all the proposals that have gone through this assessment are invited to present their proposal and to highlight what are the key points, the objective, the expected outcomes, and how they intend to use the results. This online exchange is foreseen to happen sometime in April, but the date is agreed with the lead stakeholder. Any other stakeholders who have signed the letter of commitment are also invited to join. During this online exchange, you'll be requested to present the proposal via a PowerPoint, for which there is a template that you are obliged to use, let's say, to follow all the points that are interesting for us. We will already have read your proposal. That's why after this half an hour maximum presentation from your side, there will be an online questions and answers session where we will ask you to clarify if there are some points that are not clear, and this will help us to better understand the overall approach of your proposal. And then we will, after these online exchanges happen, we will move on to the next step, which is the technical evaluation. The technical evaluation is the proper assessment, let's say, of your proposal, and what will be assessed, it's particularly the 5 criteria that were presented as well by Piera, and they will be ranked. Each criteria will need to have a minimum of 6 points, and to move on, let's say, and afterwards to be all the proposals that have reached these minimum points will be ranked, knowing that for this cutoff date there is a maximum of 7 proposals that can be selected. It's the next slide, Laura. Voila. So it will be ranked. What will happen next? So we will communicate to you via notification letters whether your proposal have been selected or not. Let's say it's within these 7 proposals or not. If ever this is not your proposal has not been selected, in these notification letters we explain the reasons and all the ideas to better that you can improve your proposal, in order that you can have the possibility to improve it and to resubmit it for the next cutoff dates. Okay, in these notification letters we will give you all the details as well about all the proposals that were selected. And so you are selected. For those selected, the next steps are we will ask you again to sign a declaration of confidentiality and no conflict of interest. Why? Because, of course, as Peter has presented the different stages, the next stage will be to draft the terms of reference, and it will go via an open call for proposal, which will be open to anyone who can apply. And these terms of reference, before they are published, all the exchanges, etc., have to be kept confidential, not to give any advantage to anyone that could apply to this open call. So that's why we will ask you to sign this declaration. And we will also ask you to sign, the lead stakeholder to sign this cooperation agreement. What is this cooperation agreement about? So it's a commitment from your side, not only to designate a contact person to coordinate all the work, but also that you will be, as a stakeholder, you will be participating at all the exchanges, all the online meetings related to the targeted analysis. In case if needed, depending always on the targeted analysis on the topic, to provide also regional local information and data if necessary, and to share contact details, access to colleagues who can support during the implementation of the targeted analysis. And after we got the results, of course, as Piera was saying, it's not over. We also ask the stakeholders to engage to support this update of the targeted analysis results. So after that, so step one is over. Coming back to this overview about what's coming next. So this evaluation and selection of proposal, it's over, and then when these documents are signed, you will be contacted as well by our colleagues to start developing these terms of reference so that we can publish as soon as possible this open code. Voila. So that's it from my side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Marta, Laura, for all these details. It's a lot of information we realize at once. So you understand, and there is no exchange of money between ESPON, ESPON GTC, and yourself as public authority. We are funding and I mean we are selecting a proposal from your side, and then we are together scoping a project, a study that we will be funded ourselves 100%. So that's one of the very specificity. I would like to insist on it once again. But even though there is no money counterpart on your side, it doesn't mean that there's no commitment from you as stakeholders. You are committed to what Marta and Piera presented, starting with the participation, involvement in the development and the implementation of the project. So we have put a series of examples, ideas of targeted analyses that have been selected, implemented in the chat. I can see that there is already one question. As I said at the beginning of the meeting, we have collected already a lot of questions from your side from the registration process. We hope that we answered most of them, but now it's time to give you the floor. I can maybe pick the first one. I see the average success rate from experience. Well, it depends. In the past, what we can say is that it happened that we received a dozen of proposals, and among which we were able to select usually, I would say, 4. Sometimes 3, sometimes 5. But it happened also in many cases that we received only 4, 5, or 6 proposals. So you see that depending on the cutoff date, and the cycle also of the demand that we are not controlling ourselves, that your rate of success can be by a lot increased. But all in all, the way we assess the proposals is really looking at the criteria that were presented by Marta and Piera, thinking in terms of the relevance that we understand from your perspective, so from what you tell us about your perspective and the way you would like to use these results, and also the added value and the relevance in terms of European perspective and providing new territorial evidence that could be transferable to others. So the quality of your proposals was matter more, and in terms of average of success, I would say that there are very few cases where at the end of the process we don't manage to find a way to engage and to work together. It happened in the past that after 2 or 3 resubmission of one proposal, that the proposal was not selected after the third time, that we found another way also to work with the public authorities that were proposing us a topic, developing smaller studies, peer learning workshops, etc. But I would say don't be afraid of a low rate of success. This is not the case, and in all cases, even when your proposal is not selected, we engage together, we can discuss and with you to explain you the reason why this was not selected this time and what we think could help you increasing your chance of being selected next time if you decide to resubmit it in the future. How often do you publish the calls? This is the next question from Maria. Twice per year. As it was said, twice every year we will publish a cutoff date. So it means that you can submit anytime, and you will always find on our website the date when we will stop, collect, and select a new series. But from your perspective, the call is open constantly. Of course, and it happened also that we received proposals the day after the cutoff date. For reasons of fairness for the others who submitted on time, we could not consider, and we had to wait for the next cutoff date before considering this proposal. So please respect the deadlines. That's it. Any other question? Does someone would like to take the floor directly? You can ask in the chat. You can also ask the floor. As I said, we received questions from your side. Maybe, I don't know if it's icebreaker because it has been already almost 1.5 hours, but I could maybe try to share some of the questions that we received and try to answer them. So let me share that. We received those questions from some of you. So the first one, I just answered it. Do we try to merge a proposal with other partnership in case the topics are the same, etc.? It could happen. It happened in the past. It didn't happen for the first 2 rounds of proposals that we selected under this new program, but it could be a possibility if we see that 2 proposals are really extremely close, or maybe that's in the case. And of course, we will never impose it, and we will always offer or propose to the lead stakeholder to consider firstly whether it's okay to share his contact details and proposals with another consortium. So this could happen. We didn't see it happening oftentimes in the past, but it could happen. What are the assessment criteria? The assessment criteria, as I mentioned, and they were presented. There are the 5 criteria, that are in the application form and in also the guidance and that Marta and Piera presented this morning. With the deadline of the 29th of March, is it still possible to start up from scratch and finish an expression of interest in time? It's always possible. We would not necessarily advise it, and we don't think that this discussion today, also for those of you who are just looking for first information on the content and the process of targeted analysis, that it is realistic to hope submitting a proposal, because of course you need firstly to scope your proposal, your project, think about it, and then also gather your partners around it. So I would imagine that for those of you who are just discovering these type of activities today, most realistic is to look for the next cutoff date that will be probably proposed and in autumn, most probably in October next year. This year, sorry, 24. Do I have other questions? Yes, I had questions from eligibility, urbanism agencies. This is very specific. French, yes. Yes, because although these agencies are not public authorities per se, but they are still semi-public, semi-private association status, but as many others, and we were mentioning also at some point, could be Chamber of Commerce, it could be also not research, but agencies, development agencies associated to local authorities. They are part of the process for designing public policies in the territory. So yes, they are absolutely eligible for being stakeholders in targeted analysis. Ukrainian local regional authorities, they are more than welcome, but as I was saying, not as formal stakeholders, but part of the process. If you read the guidance, and then that it is mentioned that you can also envisage as part of the steering committee of the project to have partners associated, and this is a place for sure for Ukrainian local and regional authorities. It happened in the past as well that we had like Ukrainian representatives before the war, before the COVID in the previous program. So it is absolutely possible, but not as formal stakeholder. And then, which means also that obviously the project will be able also to look at the regions that are represented if the stakeholders would like to have it like that. Is it possible designing a targeted analysis that addresses more than one tab? I replied already. I think that try to by reading the description of the different thematic action plans, so the different thematic priorities on our website to decide under which your proposal and needs will better fit. And in case your proposal is selected, and in case the ESPON and GTC consider that maybe it could be better to allocate it to another priority because it has multiple dimensions, then we'll discuss that, and it is still absolutely possible and not detrimental for you. What is the difference between experts and stakeholders? Can experts be staff of the applying organization who are themselves academic experts? So this is less clear, I would say, as a question. The difference that we make between stakeholders and experts, as we said, stakeholders are those who are entitled, eligible for applying because they are representing public authorities in a way or another, or NGO, private associations, but that are also part of the process of implementing public policies in their territories. Experts will rather be representative of universities, consultancies, research centers, private for-profit organizations, and in that case, they are not eligible for these projects for applying for targeted analysis. Is it necessary to have partners or not? It is not absolutely mandatory, and it happened in the past that we had a very limited number of partners within targeted analysis project. But as Piera was saying, in order to cover the different criteria, including the one on the European perspective, it is most of the time recommended from our side to have a partnership, which is including also partners that are sharing your needs, your challenges in other countries, so that you don't submit a proposal alone. So this is what we received so far. I would like to check whether in the chat we have now other questions. So universities are not eligible as stakeholders. NGOB lead stakeholder are local county authorities eligible for urban territorial planning studies required by specific law? Could you maybe please take the floor to explain your question a little bit further? I'm not certain that I will answer properly. Ed
Before
Carroll?
that, sorry, Nicola, before that, about the universities. Yeah, as Nicola said, it's not at all an university eligible to submit a proposal under this open invitation. But when we are in the process of publishing, finalizing the terms of reference and publishing the call, at that moment, of course, you are more than welcome as university or researchers and so on and experts to submit your tender to that specific call. And then we will evaluate, and together with the lead stakeholder, we will assign to the best proposal the project itself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Piera. It's indeed very important to recall that. The overall idea is that we are working with you as public authorities, but at the end of the day, there will be a service provider, research teams implementing the studies. And for this, we are, as I said, working with a call for tenders. And then universities, experts, consultants are considered as economic operators that can submit a tender, and this is why they are not eligible for targeted analysis. So maybe Ed Carroll, Alexandru, could one of you take the floor to explain us a little bit what you mean with your question? Yes.
Can you hear me? Hello, and good day to all of you. Yeah, well, my question basically is trying to find out if your program supports financially the required studies in the plans for the I don't know the exact translation of the term territorial county planning or something like this that is required by law. That Romania had specific funds for this from the PNRR program, and those funds are not available anymore for this planning. So this is somewhat. I'm sorry, my English is not very good for the moment. So this is what I was trying to find out, if this program could be another source of financing these type of plannings that authorities need to implement so that they fulfill the requirements by law, because these plans study, as you may already know, all parts of the regional aspects of the county, and of course more than that, and they are very expensive and take a lot of resources, human and financial. So I don't know if I pointed quite right my question. I think I made things more blurry.
No, Okay, tell me if I'm wrong. It's our kind of study linked to master plan
Yes,
in the counties.
something like that.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're getting close. Yeah.
I would rather say no, not absolutely no, but rather no, because this might be very specific and only aiming at the specific county you're talking about. Whereas in the case of targeted analysis, the idea is also to be able to share common challenges, strategies with other partners. And in your case, what I understand is that this would rather require a very unique and specific project studying your case without no clear or obvious European dimension immediately. Not talking about the fact that, as you may have realized today, I mean, our studies and projects are run in English, and I'm not sure that for the counties in Romania, this would be meaningful and relevant to have it like that. So I'm not certain, and rather, thinking that no, it will not fit precisely.
I understand. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Welcome. There was also Ed Carroll, your question. Could you maybe take the floor?
Yes, I hope you can hear me now. Thank
Very
you for
well.
your presentation. Yes, I have two questions actually. One is that goes back to the question of who can be the lead partner. And, I get the impression that a public body is the better partner to be the lead the lead organization. And then as an NGO or as a community association, you participate in some sense. So that's a question I think I've answered it myself actually, if I'm not wrong. And the second question is actually more, I suppose, about the scale of the territorial study. Scale is always a question of which window you look out of. So, there's a macro scale, a micro scale, and sub-micro scale. How small can it be? And, can it be on the level of, participation of citizens in a very local context, but that context might be transnational. In other words, it's a problematic or a wicked problem of participation in a city like Cordoba or Kaunas or some other city, Marseille.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for this question. I'm glad that you could also share it directly with all other participants, because actually we have had these cases, including recently. So firstly, NGO could be lead stakeholder, but as I said, yes, you understood it well. It's better if it's a public authority which is leading the process, even though, of course, being part of the partnership is absolutely not a problem. It happened in the past. In the cases when we have rather associations, NGOs leading partnerships, they are rather networks of usually public authorities or policy networks, we could call them like that. So for a private association or an NGO intervening in its own field, etc., I would rather say go under and together with a group of public authorities and under the leadership of a public authorities. That's one thing. The second question about the transnational dimension and the question of the scale, the answer is yes. In relation with the transnational dimension, it's even yes, a very, very enthusiastic yes. We like this kind of proposal, but then the question about how granular or how local we can go with these projects. So one thing maybe we didn't mention so far, and we know that it's an important dimension, it's how much is it funded, because also the budget tells you about where you how far you can go, what you can do. So the budget is usually around 250,000 euro. So it's quite a lot. But it depends also on the size of your partnership, and it depends how far you would like to go in collecting new evidence, new data, getting into activities that are also time consuming and maybe more expensive, like engaging in interviews with for instance, citizens on the ground, etc. We had some projects like that. We had some project looking at, for instance, in the previous program, the sharing economy, collaborative initiatives taking at the very local level, where we had interviews of like associations in different cities, etc. We could do that. It's still absolutely possible, but then you need, when designing your project, to think on how far you would like to go. I mean, if you have like 3 cities, as you mentioned, this could be perfectly realistic. If you come up with like a partnership of 15 partners, maybe it is less. So, but it's absolutely possible, and we are also supporting this kind of approaches. The next one, to what extent does the final study reflect the local needs and analyzes concrete cases of the initial selected proposal? Does the final study reflect only wider European tendencies and challenges, or does it solve concrete local problem as well? Thank you very much for this question, because it gives me also the opportunity to come back to something which is essential, that was said, but that is important to repeat again. We don't scope the study ourselves. The proposal that you will submit, and when we select it, becomes the ground, the base of the project and the study. And we will design the study together. So you will be involved in the process of drafting the specification of the studies that we call terms of reference, because it's a call for tenders. And then in this document, we will indicate what are the expected outcomes, what are the nature of the territorial analyses that are expected, etc., etc. And this is decided together with you and us. So it means that usually it reflects perfectly what you expect, because this is done together with you, by you, and with you. And we don't insist only in the European wider transferability, because you saw also that this is just one of the criteria, but that there are more than that in the selection process. Could National Institute of Statistics be eligible for ESPON? Yes. Public administration, absolutely, could be a stakeholder of targeted analysis. Can the analysis involve a number of cities with one country? Absolutely. We had in the past partnerships involving national level, EU level, cities also, etc. It really depends on your project needs and capacities. I see that Vita Galuniene wanted to take the floor. Please. You're welcome. You can open your mic and ask if you have a question. I think Vita was, yes, you were the one asking the question about the number of cities within one country. You want to explain it a little bit more? No? Okay. Anyone else? Look, it's noon CET, almost, meaning for some of you already 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We can, of course, we go on with remaining questions. I just wanted to remind you that the Slido questionnaire that we opened at the beginning of this meeting is still open. For those of you who would like also to leave us at some point for lunch or other activities, please, we would really appreciate if you could go through the questionnaire and answer all the remaining questions about this meeting. So normally you can find the link in the chat at the very beginning of the chat discussion. We have forwarded the link. Maybe my colleague could copy paste it again so that it's easier to find it back. And please fill in the Slido. But before that, another question from Mihaela. Could the National Statistical Institute, specifically, what project could the Institute of Statistics do to match ESPON? Well, brings us back to the overall this discussion. I think that as part of the role of the National Statistical Institute, there are a broad range of policies linked to the better understanding of territorial trends using statistics that are really meaningful and relevant for ESPON studies. So I would imagine that for National Statistical Institute, who has a project which is not necessarily, I would say, a nationally run project, a project which is part of the official work program, etc., but could be like a side project exploring maybe new trends or new territorial trends. There could be room for submitting proposal that would fit the ESPON targeted analysis approach. I can give you one example. For instance, we are obviously working a lot with Eurostat, or rather using a lot what Eurostat is producing in terms of statistics to feed our pan-European research project, but in the field, for instance, of cross-border cooperation on the understanding of cross-border flows. We see that Eurostat is facing major difficulties for delivering data and statistics on these flows, but that on the other hand, several national statistical institutes are already cooperating in an ad hoc way in order to develop new statistics to understand cross-border flows. So this could be, for instance, one of the topic for which we could imagine a targeted analysis involving different national statistical institutes or national statistical institutes together with border regions, border public authorities, in order to propose new ways of characterizing cross-border flows. Alexandro, I saw that you would like to take the floor back.
Yes, thank you again. So I would like to clear out one more thing. The main impediment for the financing the plans I mentioned earlier, the master plans and so on, would be the language barrier, because these studies need to be understandable worldwide. And okay, but wouldn't it be an opportunity to make these studies in a local language and English also, so that because the problems that we have here, I'm sure they're not only local county problems. They are, as my colleagues said earlier, there are regional problems. Actually, there are problems that reflect the situation in a big part of this eastern part of Europe. So this is why I'm still insisting on finding out if we can find a way somehow to manage. Because if the language barrier is the only one, I think this is manageable. I think this is not a problem actually. What do you think?
Well, I think that for language, there is always a way to find a solution, also because your national ESPON contact point in Romania has got also resources to translate studies funded by ESPON into Romanian. So this is always a possibility. But so I wouldn't say that the language is the key or only obstacle. It's more that probably that the challenges or the need behind your project should be also shared by other places in Europe. So meaning that if it's about like a very specific master plan for a specific county, I'm not fully certain that it would cover, the 5 criteria that we presented, including this
confidentiality.
no
clause.
transferability. Being able to share some of your territorial needs or concerns with others that could also benefit from the results of the study at the end, because the result will be rather like a master plan, a solution, proposals for your place, but that could barely be used by others like that. So this is more the limitation I see. But again, it's not a firm no. It's more that given what you are explaining, I'm not fully certain that it's like really fitting the scope of what we are looking for.
The document in the end should be a public one. So of course
It
maybe
is.
there are indeed the parts of it that should not be public, but okay,
That's
that's a different story.
that's actually a very good point, and I'm happy also that you are mentioning it, because it was not so far developed. But yes, we are working with a public procurement, which means that and we are also funded by EU money, ERDF, and also by public money from all countries part of the program. So it means that all our studies, research are public in the end. They are made public and accessible for the general public. But you can see, Alexandru, that Radu, who is representing Romania in the ESPON monitoring committee, has provided you with his contact detail to him and Amalia as well. You can get in touch with them, maybe.
Oh, thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thank you. All right. Any other question? Can't see any other. All right. So, is there any? Maria. Yes, Maria, I can confirm the next call, 29th of March, and after that, subsequent calls will be open to all 8 thematic priorities. Absolutely. Absolutely, we didn't mention it, but there are 4 priorities under which we don't have no proposals for targeted analysis so far, because they were just open recently. This is the one dealing with smart connectivity, under which, for instance, the topic of 10T that was where there was a question could be affiliated. There is another one dealing with a cross-border also, which has just been open. That could be a nice priority if you had suggestions and needs related to cross-border cooperation. There is another one dealing with more economical topics, the economic interactions of your places with the rest of the world. That has just been opened, and there is last one which is linked to adapting to climate change through a nature-based solution, and this is also a very interesting one that has just been open and for which we don't have no proposals so far. Are the application forms to apply available on ESPON website? Yes, they are. Absolutely. We can share also, my colleague could do that, share with you the link directly to the page where you can find the announcement for the call for proposals. And if you scroll down the page, you have a bunch of documents. All of them are you can download them easily. You have like a document with a frequently asked question. You have a guidance or documents also explaining in details everything that have been said today. Then you have also the application form, you have the stakeholder cooperation agreement, you have a lot of things there. In case you don't find the answer to your question, and it gives me also the opportunity to say that we will update the FAQ document with all the questions that you asked today, because we think also it's important that for other authorities to most of your questions were definitely relevant. But if you have others that were not like answered today, please do not hesitate. I think Laura, you gave also the email that people could use to contact us. Maybe we could also copy paste it again and put it in the chat so that everyone can find it back easily. application@espon.eu. Each time you send an email, we reply. There's no issue. Do not hesitate to reach out to us. And again, for those who said that, yes, that maybe it was short in time starting from scratch to submit a proposal by the end of March. Don't forget that it's open constantly. So if you miss the 29th of March, you will have plenty of opportunities anyway. All right. So 12, 11. Nikos, could I ask you to share one last time maybe the results of the Slido? First question, if we can see if many of the participants have replied. 73, it's not so bad. Half of you would be super happy if we could reach 100. I know it's tough. And then, okay, the reason about attending, where you see the questions are really straightforward. Thank you very much, Gemma, for your nice words. Okay, then do you feel better today, positioned to judge on those policies, etc.? For those who have said no, which is also very important, interesting for us, again, do not hesitate to use the email contact application@espon.eu to ask us any sort of complementary additional question for which, if we were not clear enough for you, we would be pleased to help you further understanding how we work and what we are expecting. And then, okay. All right. Thank you, Nikos. Then I think maybe we could close that. And then just wishing you all a very nice day. Thank you very much for attending this discussion. Do not hesitate also to circulate the information in your network. We will be organizing this sort of sessions every 6 months, or at least twice a year, probably. So normally, I hope we didn't see you again in this format, because you will have received all the information you need for submitting a proposal. But if you know colleagues, institutions, organizations you would like to join, please circulate the information. We are very, very much pleased of helping them participating and engaging in ESPON activities in the future. Thank you very much.
Can I say something, Nicola?
Yes.
Because I think having more than 100 stakeholders and people here, it's a good opportunity also to mention that we have a number of opportunity and events in front of us. In particular, an open seminar that we are organizing in cooperation with the Belgian presidency of the EU, and it will be a physical event taking place in month. I don't know exactly when. Maybe Nicola, you can say that. And we will open the registration for this seminar very soon. It should be the first week of June, right?
It is, yes. The precise dates.
We haven't published yet, I think, the announcement, but it will be
the 5th of June.
Perfect.
Okay. If there are additional questions. Thank you very much to all of you. Have a very nice day, and looking forward to receiving and reading your proposal for ESPON activities. Bye bye.